Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Legend, where we have an interesting choice to make, I think. So, we are able to buy out fungal blooms with dust during the eclipse, right? The eclipse will probably last a couple more turns. I'm fingers crossed, because we definitely still have ruins to search during it. The next step of our faction quest wants us to control 5 overgrown villages of minor factions, so we would need to do 4 more. We could try to just rush our faction quest along super fast by initiating fungal blooms on 4 villages and then buying them out immediately. But if we do that, we probably won't be able to afford a hero right when we finish the mercenary market. I guess maybe that's not true. It's entirely possible that we could find enough dust in the ruins to do both. And you know what? We're developing. We're going to get the Empire Mint technology next turn, right when we finish our geomic lab. Never mind, this isn't that interesting of a decision. Let's spend a bunch of dust rushing our faction quest along. So we can only overgrow villages that we have actually converted. Oh, I had a question. Okay, 5+1. So, one thing I was curious about was whether overgrowing a village like this would allow us to use the population point from that village, the same way we get with our population from our pacified villages. But it appears that no, it does not, because we are still at 5+1 population from our 5 people here and our 1 pacified village. Fair enough. It's not like we need the help with population. Our city is growing remarkably rapidly. So, like I said, I'm a little concerned that they're going to be able to remove the fungal overgrowth with violence, so I would like to overgrow villages that are a little bit further away from them if we can. The one that's in our territory should be pretty safe. Unfortunately, none of these tiles are going to have great tile output, on account of the fact that there's a village on them, which prevents there from being any, like, cool anomalies or anything. But yeah, let's start that. What would it be to buy these out? Ooh, okay, so we're not going to be able to buy out all 4 of them anyway. Although, again, you know, we could end up finding an awful lot of dust in the next couple of turns. We don't actually have that many villages pacified. We could get this one over here. This one's right on their border, so I suspect it is pretty likely to fall, but we could grab this one over here as well. So we've got 4 converting. Does buying one out increase the cost of the others? Like, let's say we definitely want this one. Okay, it does. So this is going to be actually a pretty expensive endeavor. Well, and if they remove this bloom with their dudes here, we're going to be in a real spot as far as getting these finished quickly. Alright, I think they're less likely to attack this one, although, I mean, we do know they burned this village down already. That's the only reason we can convert it in the first place, right? Is that they burned the resistance out of it. Yeah, we need a lot of money. All right, I'm gonna commit here. We're just gonna pop as many of them as we can. So we still need this one. We need 144 dust. If they don't remove this bloom quickly next turn, we might be able to get it just by searching the 2 ruins that our armies are near. Provided that the eclipse doesn't end, because the eclipses are not very long, especially at the beginning of the game. We'll get there on the mercenary market. We will find the money. We will make the money. Search, and I have to select the city to get that panel to pop up. There we go. Okay, just rushing our faction quest along. Now, let's see if we can't maybe get hero money together. Our Eclipse power seems very, very useful. Alright, so we had gotten 75 dust, plus 30 dust, plus 80 dust, plus 30 dust. Okay. That's not bad. That's not hero buying money, but we're back in that direction at least. Now we must assimilate a minor faction. Okay. We're getting a ton of titanium from all these quests. Alright, let's talk about minor faction assimilation. What's up? We're not happy about your placement of it. Okay, well, They didn't remove they didn't kill our fungal bloom on this village. That suggests to me that maybe they can't. I have a hard time imagining them choosing not to destroy it if they could. And we did, in fact, build our geomic labs. We have the Empire Mint tech, and I think that that might be a pretty important thing for us to put together here. So it's a lot of the early game building techs have these very, very powerful buildings. Plus 10 science, plus 10% science, plus 10 food, plus 15% food. So it's really nice to pick these up. We definitely want to grab cultivation, although I don't know. You can see there that the 10 food bonus on that building does not work during this, does not work during the winter. It's only effective during the summer. And winter is coming. Winter's coming soon. You can see down here in the corner, this little timer tells us there's 1 to 12 turns before winter arrives. Unfortunately, we don't get to know exactly when. That said, we're producing a ton of food right now, and the 15% food bonus on the city does work at all times. It might actually be worth picking up cultivation next, although, also we need science. I don't know, hold on. We don't have to make this decision right now. We can make this decision in 2 turns. Let's just wait until then. So where do we want to explore here? Let's go this way. I'm deciding arbitrarily. Then over here we are also looking, we're just looking for more ruins. Although we are getting a little bit far from home. It's maybe a little dangerous. Alright, so let's talk about Assimilation of a minor faction. Actually, I want to talk about 2 things here. Number 1 is the Empire plan. In a few turns, every 20 turns, you are asked to make an Empire plan. The Empire plan will give you buffs for the following 20 turns until the next time that you make an Empire plan. Making the plan costs influence. So you can see here, like, we could get an Empire plan that gives us a 20% science boost for our entire Empire. That's pretty great. And it costs 28 influence when we do it. The cost here is based on the number of cities that you have. Each time you found a city, or in our case, a fungal bloom, the cost for picking up a tier of Empire plan goes up. So I would really like to get, at the very least, this Empire plan going. So we need to have 28 influence on turn 20. It's important to note that because, like I said, I do want to continue accelerating our Empire plan, or our faction quest, and assimilating a minor faction to complete the next step here is going to cost us influence. So when we assimilate a minor faction, we get some effect from them based on the number of their cities that we have. We have Mykara'd up. You can see with the haunts here, plus 5% science per pacified and rebuilt haunts village on cities. We have 3 of those currently fungal bloomed up. So if we assimilated these guys, we would just get plus 15% empire-wide science. That's pretty great and definitely what we're going to do. We also gain the ability to build their military unit. Each minor faction has 1 military unit. This one has chain lightning and can fly, which is pretty good, but it's very expensive. It is an extremely expensive unit. We probably won't end up building any, even though I think it is a good unit. Yeah, I definitely want to assimilate them, though. Alright, so that'll roll our faction quest along. We are 4 turns away from our Empire plan. We need to acquire 20 influence in that time, which means that we need to do one of 2 things. We either need to move some citizens in our city over to influence production, or I guess we could just pop this wine booster that we have right here, or this dye booster. So that gives us plus 50% influence. You'll notice it went from 3 to 4. That's because the values in these in the box up here truncate decimals, which is kind of annoying. I do wish they would show those. We should put 1 person on influence. There are other things you need influence for. Anytime you want to interact with another player, diplomacy requires influence. For example, if we wanted to declare war, that would have an influence cost. If we wanted to try to make a deal with her, that would have a higher influence cost. So I'm thinking there's a non-zero chance that we're going to want to declare war on them at some point in the semi-near future. There's also a fair chance that they're going to declare war on us. Because again, my experience with defaulters is that they are very, very aggressive. After we get mercenary market, actually, the next thing we might want to do is think about some military technology. I really do think there's a pretty good chance they declare war on us. Alright, the longer the eclipse goes, the better it is for us, because we really, really want a couple more significant dust boosts here. Well, titanium is not exactly the thing we were going for. Have a chat with these guys, see if they want to give us a nice, easy quest. In your next Empire plan, don't put any influence in the military ministry, but do set the economy and population ministry to level 1. Well, that's a little awkward. We probably are not going to do this because the level we want is the science and industry ministry. This is the thing they want us to do. That's fine, but it's not really where we're going. Fortunately, the reward for this is just pacification of this tribe, which probably doesn't matter to us. They're so far away. Alright. Neither the local population nor their artifacts give any clue as to whether any other of my kinsmen survived the mage's assault. Perhaps they are afraid and are good liars, but any inquiry regarding the Urkan-led massacre is met with vacant eyes and curt shakes of the head. Strange. I feel myself, my identity, slipping deeper into the Mykara's collective consciousness. It is a soothing, liberating, mind-expanding feeling, as my attention expands across the world and deeper into the past. But it is also a betrayal. I swore I would have vengeance, and I will not break that promise. I must not forget. As the Mykara has changed me, so I have changed the Mykara. Out of my form, perhaps out of my very cells, it grows workers, builders, soldiers. Some will be instruments for my purposes. I will send an army back to our devastated home and find the mage's trail. The site of our old vault and the massacre is hazy to me, but I must find it. During my slumber, the Mykara moved me, and the geography of the world feels unfamiliar. It is hardly surprising that a vaulter struggles to recognize the landscape. We've always been happier in the subterranean realm, more attuned to the vagaries of stone, the smell of the depths, and the shades of darkness you learn from living underground. Still, I have some ideas, and we will find the place. And if we are lucky, maybe we might even surprise a few ardent mages who've lingered too long. My suspicion is that a lot of time has passed, and she is not aware of exactly how much time has passed. The only way to pick up the trail of the mages is to revisit the site of the massacre, the place I once named home. My armies will need to search among a few candidate sites. So there are ruins in Anchan, Gleka, and Alandarin that we have to check out. Let's pin this quest so it appears here in the upper right. And then click on this little icon, and it'll show us what ruins it's talking about. There, way over there, and right there. Okay. That second one's across the water. Well, maybe it's across the water. We don't actually have vision over here. I assumed that the water went all the way around us, right? Because we can see the water here and here, but maybe there's a land bridge. We should probably investigate. We should probably investigate right now, actually. I'm going to unassign our hero from this army. Return them to our academy. And then we are going to go into our academy and grab our unassigned hero. Create them as an army on our capital city. And we're going to head this way. Or maybe I'm going to have him run down and grab that ruin first, because nobody else is really close. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So, let's talk about how their ability to attack us works. This is an important moment for that. At the beginning of your relationship with any other player, you are at Cold War with them. During this period, we can attack each other, except that you cannot attack their armies in their territory, and they cannot attack your armies in your territory. So, if we cross the border into their land, they'll be able to just attack us openly. We have to be pretty cautious about that. As long as we're right here, we're safe, even if they're right there. But getting to this ruin safely is going to be a little tricky. You guys are just going to keep looking around for stuff. Do we see the edges of any sparkles through the fog? It doesn't look like it. Return to this village with an army that contains a minimum of 3 minor faction units. So like I said, when you assimilate a minor faction, you gain the ability to build their units. This is not going to happen. Sure, you have cities and armor and power and wealth and lots of fancy equipment, but this village is full of cynics. They will only believe that you are a worthy leader if you show that other minor factions have been content to join your ranks. If you're able to show your army integrates other peoples into its ranks, they will be reassured that you have the competence to lead beings of their village as well. Okay, so we're not going to get that quest done, and also, it's not a big deal. We don't really care about pacifying these guys. A lot of what we're doing out here is just fishing for easy quests that have decent rewards, like that quest that quest to make a region not have enemy armies in it for 5 turns. Sometimes you get a quest like that, and it just completes for free. You get free stuff. Alright, next turn is Mercenary Market. We should probably prioritize getting the Empire Mint finished. I gotta say, this does feel like it's going pretty well, though. I'm gonna wait for them to execute all their moves for the turn. They got units out here running around. A settler. Well, I guess that's to be expected. We're not putting any pressure on them over here. They're gonna take all of the land around us. Finished our mercenary market. We will look into that in a moment. Alright, I'm confident they've spent all their points of movement. Let's get over here and search this for our quest. Oh, we spawned some minor faction guys. Do they want to fight? They're not attacking me, but I suspect we have to fight them. We could just leave. Alright, like, if they're not going to attack me, I could just turn around and walk away. They have 6 move. If they want to fight us, they'll chase us. Plus, if we get back over here before we fight them, our city will be in range of the battle, and we'll get to use the units in our garrison for backup. Reduce the amount of damage that our hero takes. Alright, come on. A huge amount of dust. That's a quest. Oh! Ancient texts and scientific studies say that some locations are interconnected. By successively activating triggers in these places, you can uncover increasingly important treasures, but only a hero can do it, and once you start, you launch a countdown, after which the chain effect vanishes forever. So we have 15 turns to hit a bunch of particular ruins on the map with hero-led armies to get a succession of rewards. The first one is all the way over here. Okay, well, our plan is to run this guy down to here and snap the hero onto this army when they get close. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a few turns because we recently unassigned and then reassigned our hero, and that starts a cooldown. It's 5 turns by default before we can reassign him again. So it's going to be 4 turns before we can do that thing. Where else are where's the one down here? Okay, it's north of them. So that's a little awkward. Yeah, the Lust for Loot quest that we just got conflicts with our faction quest in kind of a way that's sort of a bummer. We should probably start bringing this guy back around over toward our friendly territory. I was hoping to meet some other players out beyond the Vaulters, but it looks like that might not happen. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. You've encountered the Nidya. They are impressed by your power, but feel little respect if it is not tempered by wisdom. Before they are willing to peacefully submit, you must show them that you are capable of collecting and disseminating knowledge. So, if we enter Technology Era 2 within the next 10 turns, we just get 80 dust, and this is a thing we were already going to do anyway. Let's talk about that. We are 2 technologies away from unlocking Era 2. We can definitely get 2 more technologies in 10 turns. I think we probably do want to grab Public Library because our rate of research is starting to slow a little bit. And then, do we want to research our cavalry unit? If we end up at war with the Vaulters, cavalry will be pretty useful. The Vaulter army is very ranged unit heavy because the initial Vaulter unit is a ranged unit. So having some cavalry to rush over to them and kill them before they can kill all of us with their crossbows seems like a pretty good idea. We could also pick up Open Pit Mine, which will give us the ability to build extractors over luxury resources. Obviously, this is pretty great for us since we can build our extractors anywhere on the map, not just in our own territory. There's also Cultivation, which gives a ton of bonus food, which is pretty relevant to us. Yeah, I think those are the big 3. We don't have to stop researching these when we open Era 2. We can come back and get the ones we don't take now. I'm going to prioritize Cultivation. I think Cultivation's very, very strong. Yeah, I think this is right. Public Library into Cultivation. It might even be right to do it in the other order. I'm going to get Public Library first. Alright, let's also talk about Legendary Deeds while we're here, because I don't think we did before. Each era has a couple of competitive deeds associated with it. Only one person can fulfill these, and they give out special one-time rewards. So, for example, Visionary Leader here, the first player who has pacified 8 villages will gain Tactical Training, which increases the initiative of all of your units for the entire game by 15%. We have actually pacified 6 of 8 villages already, and when we accomplish this Nidya quest, that will probably take us over to 8. If this village is not, or if this region is not a 1-village region, that'll do it. You can also see our rank. We are 1 of 6, so we've pacified more villages than anybody else has. We might not have to strain very hard to get this. This might just become ours. Here, be the first to gather at least 30 units of one luxury resource at the end of the turn in order to gain 130 emeralds. So this is worded a little strangely. It means have 30 of one luxury resource in your bank at the end of the turn. There was a point at which we had 25 spices, I think. We were close to getting this, but we're probably not going to be the ones to do this. My guess is whoever researched open pit mine first is probably going to be the one who ends up with this, because they will have been gathering resources this whole time. Also, frankly, I don't care. I don't think 130 emeralds is a very good reward. Emeralds are one of my least favorite luxury resources, although I guess they're a little bit better for us than they are for a lot of factions, because the security of our main city is so important. We haven't really talked about Fortification yet. We will. I think probably soon, when we go to war with the Vaulters. And here, there is a legendary building available. It costs a lot of industry and 5 glass steel and 5 titanium to build, but it has some very significant effects. Only one player can build this. When somebody has finished it, it will become unavailable to everybody else. So there's a competition to get this thing done. Honestly, it would be very good for us. And we're really close to having the resources to do it, too. Next turn, we will have enough glass steel. We might try to go after that. The Era 2 legendary deeds are opened up, which means at least one player is already in Era 2. You can see these ones are grayed out because they're not unlocked yet, because no empire has gotten to 3. So what are these? Be the first to have earned 2,000 influence since the beginning of the game in order to get this reward. We are in 6th on this. This is not happening. We're not getting this one. Be the first to attack and defeat at least 10 armies of other empires in order to gain a trinket that you can equip on your units to give them free counter, which is the skill that our hero has. This is an okay reward, and it's possible we'll get this by fighting the Vaulters. And then there's another great big wonder here, this one giving just a ton of industry. This would also be very good for us to have. Obviously, we are lacking glass steel. Alright, so we are going to enter Era 2 within the next 10 turns. These Nidya will come over. Oh, here we have a conflux. So sometimes, during the Eclipse, these confluxes appear on the ground. They're just little army buffs. You pick them up, and they buff all the units in your army until the conflux ends. This one gives a ton of extra movement. We're going to grab that, but I'm going to be honest with you, my suspicion is that the Eclipse is going to end, like, next turn or maybe the turn after, so we probably won't get to enjoy that for very long. Right, you're out of move. We did all your stuff already. Okay, last thing we got to do here is check out the market that we opened up. So you can see there's a variety of mercenary units available for purchase, some boats, and then a bunch of minor faction stuff. But this is what we're interested in, the hero marketplace. In particular, we would like to pick up a Mykara or cultist hero as the governor of our city, I think. So let's have a look at this guy, Specialized Polyp 2D the Third. He has Science Boost 2, plus 8 science for each level of this hero. That's actually pretty good. And Industry Efficiency 2. Wow, he's a great governor. We want this guy really badly. The reason I might want a cultist hero, the cultists are another faction, is because they have significant buffs for all of your city outputs. So like this guy just makes all of your citizens more effective. You get plus 15% science per point here, plus 15% influence per point here, plus 15% dust per point here, and then those skills build very naturally into the inspirational leader skill that all heroes have. And also this guy has influence boost 3. Ozek the Chosen would be a fantastic governor. These guys are both great. Unfortunately, 300 dust. Well, I mean, we're going to get there, right? What is the reward for this stage of our faction quest? We don't know. Okay, fair enough. Lust for Loot is showing glass as a reward right now, but sometimes it can end up giving you an awful lot of dust. Like, it's still not crazy to think that we could get a hero pretty soon, even though we did go super hard buying out minor faction villages. Alright. So we're just going to mash the Execute Planned Movement button here, so that our hero will, at the very earliest moment, run toward Uarden. Yep, there's the end of the Eclipse. Lighting has gone back to normal. Okay, I think they do want to fight us. I'm fine with that, but I wanted to get our militia in on the act. Like, our hero definitely kills them, but this way, we can do it without having to actually lose any health. Although, we have so much regen from our fungal blooms now. We have like 10 fungal blooms out, right? Yeah, we have so much regen from our fungal blooms, maybe it doesn't matter? I don't know. We can do this the easy way, let's just do it the easy way. So we're going to have just our militia from our city engage in battle here. Your units do not gain XP from battles based on how much they participate. If every unit in the battle gets the same amount. Although it kind of looks like he's going to tear all of our dudes apart. So we're not losing anything on our hero by doing this. We're just making him take less damage during the fight. I really thought they were going to do a better job. Haunts are pretty good minor faction units. Alright, let's just get over here. And apparently if you want something done right, you have to do it with your own specialized poly. Yeah, I really thought the militia were going to be better at that. And as you might imagine, they're not amazing units, because cities have to be conquerable. If militia were super powerful, it would be very, very difficult to play militarily. But still, even so, that was really bad. Alright, I think this guy is... Yeah, this guy's going to loop around the south side of Valtertown. We really should start bringing him back. Now, we could build a fungal bloom over some of the ruins out here and give ourselves a fast travel tunnel. Yeah, we could, huh? Is that a thing I want to do? Because we have ruins back home. But also I'm really enjoying having all this food income and gaining population really quickly. Oh, we can pull this guy off of influence. We are well past our target value. Yeah, I kind of do want to build... Oh! We can build fungal blooms on ruins that have been revealed to us via quest. We don't actually have to, be able to see them. Well, that's pretty interesting, actually. You know what? I want to build a little fungal bloom tunnel. It's going to be a lot of food, which is a shame. But being able to travel quickly from one side of Valter territory to the other definitely would have its benefits. Now, you know, we're gonna continue focusing on running food into our population space. It's so valuable to have good population in your capital. Alright, so if we were going to try to build the Museum of Auriga, as it stands now, it would take us 8 turns to do it. The Museum of Auriga is a district, by the way. All of these legendary buildings are actual districts, so we will grab a bunch of additional terrain with it and everything. So we could probably get that done. But I think the Industrial Megapole is a little bit more valuable. This does give an awful lot of science and dust. They're both really good. And as you can see, we're at plus 26 dust per turn now, so it's not going to be too much longer before we can afford that hero. I'm going to go for this. And if we're going to go for this starting as late as we are... Where do I want to put it, actually? So we definitely want to build down in the direction of the mud here. This district is not actually finished, which is why we can't build off of it. I think here would be an okay spot. Right, like a little line shape. I mean, our city's going to get huge eventually. Yeah, let's build it here. We're going to put that at the top of the queue. And if we moved everybody over to industry, wow, we could get quite a few turns off of that. It doesn't affect our birth rate too much. A 5-turn Museum of Auriga is pretty good. I'm going to go for it. And if we want to get the Industrial Megapole, we still might be able to, because Lust for Loot is going to give us a ton of titanium, or a ton of glass steel when we accomplish the first part of it. Alright, so our Titan Bone booster has ended. Oh, that's a shame. We do not have enough Titan Bones to rerun it, obviously. We'll just give ourselves 20% science bonus for the next 20 turns. Seems like a thing worth spending some currency on. I'm actually... Okay, no, we're going to be able to wrap around and get to this. What would you guys like? If we destroyed a Yotus village in Telillian, they'd give us some titanium. That's not a very compelling offer, frankly. I don't need titanium, and I don't want to fight those guys. Still pretty far away from this. I think my plan here is to have this guy wrap around and grab that for us. And we have, in fact, seen another player. Well, I'm very curious to meet them, but not so curious that I'm going to let it distract me from heading straight toward this ruin. Oh, winter. Alright, so this is a very important element of Endless Legend. Winter has fallen. The dark season has begun. Moderate. Urkans will suffer a 25% penalty on all their stats during the winter. We still don't really know what this means. We haven't seen any Urkans. All units lose 25% of their movement. Tiles that produce food and dust produce less food and dust. Everybody can see a little bit less far. The dark season is a tough time. It's going to last 1 to 17 turns, and during it we're just kind of bad at everything. But, check this out. These pearls emerge from the earth during the winter. We can use these pearls to do some weird kinds of magic, some things that are definitely worth pursuing, but unfortunately it's going to take a little while before we've accumulated enough of them to do anything significant. How many, is that just one pearl there? Okay, I'm not going to get distracted by one pearl. We're going to keep moving. Sometimes the pearl deposits that emerge will be numerous. Then 5 turns, search for a relic at some new unspoiled ruins. That wants us to turn around as well. Keeping the Empire secure includes paying attention to the tales of travelers and vagabonds. You hear of a place full of artifacts from ancient days, and you've heard it enough times that it may not be idle boasting or mindless babbling. That point on the map bears investigation. So we have 5 turns to search this ruin. Because I've played the game a lot, I can tell you that the reward from this quest will be a really cool shield that we can equip on our hero, except our hero's not really the shield-using type, I don't think. He wants to have a great big sword, right? We can equip shields. We could go down to a one-handed sword and a shield. But I don't think I want to turn around for that. I think we have a place that we are going, and it behooves us to get there as quickly as possible. Actually, it looks like I was right. We are blocked off from here. So actually, building a tunnel over here might be the only way for us to get there without spending an awful lot of time researching naval technology and then building our city out to the water. That might be intentional. That might be the design, right? Well, oof, this is rough. If we start growing a tunnel output here and a tunnel output at one of the ruins in our territory, we're going to be out of food. We're going to be actually like zeroed out food growth, especially with us focusing so hard on the museum. That said, I think we probably ought to do it. We'll just suffer for the winter. Oh, it won't actually let me go negative. Interesting. Could I pull one person off of industry without affecting the number of turns on our altar? Okay. Or on our museum, rather. Okay. I mean, that makes sense, it not letting you go to negatives. Alright, if we find one more ruin full of dust, we might be able to buy our hero. And I'm honestly pretty torn about which one of those heroes I want. Alright, so we know we're going to snap our hero down over here for searching this ruin. We may as well do it now. His cooldown's up, and he doesn't have anything else of value to do up there. Alright, Cultivation will finish in 6 turns, which will push us into Era 2 6 turns, huh? That feels slow. Are we gonna make... that minor faction quest? I'll tell you what, when we finish the museum, we'll reevaluate. It might be the case that we want to put a bunch of people onto science. Alright, so we're encountering some hostile minor faction armies. Round about this time in the game, usually turn 20, like plus or minus 4 turns, unpacified minor faction villages will start to spawn minor faction armies that are just hostile to everyone. Our lone Epitane is, of course, not in any kind of state where it can fight off 2 Erisys at the same time. 2 these big vine snake monstrosities. So, we need to have a plan here or our man is going to die. We can try to run away from them through Blue's territory. It is usually the case that minor factions will not attack you outside of the region they were spawned in. It's not guaranteed, but we also have a place we're going, right? So I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to enter this move order. They will be able to chase us to there and attack us. And then next turn, we'll just retreat from the battle. And then next turn we'll run through Blue's territory and hopefully get away. Hopefully. Okay. To be clear, I still think things are going very well. I think we've had a great start here. Stuff's getting a little bit tighter, as it always does during the winter. This winter could end any minute now. Okay, they chose not to chase us. That's actually really great. Lucky, lucky me. Alright, well, we're going to get over here, but man, it's taken an awfully long time. How many turns do we have left on Lust for Loot as a whole? 10? So you can see, there's a bunch of ruins. You can get up to 5 rewards here, because the final part of the quest gives doubled reward. My suspicion is we're not going to get there, because it's taken us so long to access the first one. This is a real shame. So I think we want our man to just run over here now. I mean, running through Blue's territory is fine, I guess. Again, there's the danger of Blue attacking us here, but they don't seem to know that we're here. I mean, we're just skirting through the edges. Alright, all of our boosters are running out, which is a sad, sad time. And somebody else accomplished, the Vaulters pacified 8 villages. Probably all of them through force. That is a shame. It's not a big deal. Alright, so we're going to get this next turn. Finally. And with 323 dust, we might be able to hire a hero now. The cost of the heroes climbs slowly throughout the game. So, no, it turns out we're not. It has climbed faster than we have gotten to it. That's alright. We're gonna catch up on that. Let's keep this guy moving. Man, I cannot wait for this winter to end. So you can see we've gone negative on food now because our spices booster ran out, and it hasn't killed the growth on our fungal blooms. So you can't start a fungal bloom if it would take you negative, but going negative doesn't end your current ones, which is good information. Alright, so we have acquired the glass steel. The next location on the map is pretty close to home, actually. Ah, now the Vaulters see us, and they are sending units to drive us out of their land. Fair enough. We'll just, we'll run to here. They could chase us, and they can attack us in Greene's territory. So that might happen. Also, our hero is leveling up remarkably quickly. So we could spend more points in Iron Taskmaster, make his army even tougher, or we could continue to climb. This will just give him an extra accessory slot. We don't have good equipment yet, so the value of this is very limited right now, but it leads us up toward Garb of Battle, which gives defense to all the units in his army, and then eventually Rallying Call, which will give us 4 reinforcement flags on the map instead of 2, meaning that a large reinforcing army can join his army in battle very quickly. Rallying Call is an extremely powerful skill, but you have to have quite a few units to make good use of it, and I'm wondering if we might be better off grabbing the rest of Iron Taskmaster as quickly as we can before going up there. Just because we're going to need a lot of life to weather battle against all of Blue's archers. In order for our units not to get shot to pieces before we can really contribute to battle, I think we're going to go for that. So, the best version of this is this Epitane plus the hero, making it over to here, right? What's the reassignment cooldown on our hero like right now? 2 turns? Alright. We don't know how big this lake is. It's possible that trying to go around it will be a real pain. It's possible that in 2 turns unassigning the hero, making him an army on Warden, and then having him just run down here will be faster. I guess we'll find out. You guys... Oh, we do get to search the ruin again. Every time a quest spawns asking you to search a ruin, searching the ruin the first time will just do the quest search. You can still do the normal ruin search. So that has got us hero money. Let's talk about heroes. Ural the Speaker is also available. He's another cultist hero, but he has no governing capacities. So he is definitely strictly worse for us than Ozek the Chosen. The question here is Ozek versus Specialized Polyp 2D the Third. So this guy has for us plus food on terrain with food, which is obviously great. A reduction in consumption. So if we jump back over to our city here and see each citizen eats food. We're paying 12 food per turn right now in consumption. Each natural point of population in the city consumes 2 food at the beginning of the turn. When our city is really large, that 100% reduction in consumption will be a considerable amount of food. It's not such a big deal right now. Then, beyond that, he has this defensive thing, which, like I said, I don't really want to be using this defensive thing. But if we did get attacked, this is powerful. It's a lot of retaliation damage. And then he has industry efficiency too, so anytime our people are on industry, they will produce 2 extra industry each. And he has just a bunch of extra science. But like, Impassioned Preacher is amazing. And Will of Achille is amazing. I think we're going to take the Cultist. I know that I've been trying to express over and over again how important food is for a city, but like, the boost that we get to everything else from having this guy, combined with the fact that we already have good food production, so we're going to have a lot of people and a lot of resource output, I'm pretty sure makes Ozek the Chosen the right call. Alright, we will assign Ozek the Chosen as the governor of our city. So the way governors level up. First of all, like most units, they get 1 passive XP per turn. Secondly, at the beginning of each turn, they receive 1 XP for each non-militia unit in your city garrison. So it behooves us to form a proper garrison in this city, not just because it will help us keep safe, but because it will help level up Ozek. And finally, whenever you finish a construction in the queue, you get XP based on the amount of industry that construction costs. I don't know exactly what the conversion is, but like, we can take a guess here, right? We're gonna get 500 XP in a second. We will have 1 XP from leveling up when that happens, so we can make a guess at the conversion factor here. Not a guess, sorry. We can observe the conversion factor here. All right, so we need to make sure that our Epitane, here we are. Our Epitane over here moves quickly at the beginning of the turn. This museum is going to be really good for us. Oh, the end of winter is also really good for us. We can run away even faster. Flee! Okay. Ooh. We did not, in fact, go and search that ruin. That's true. The dyes have run out, and we do not have enough resources to repop them, but we are at 90% approval because one of the effects of the museum is that it gives 20 approval. 20 approval per level. We'll talk about levels. Actually, we may as well talk about them right now, I guess. So each district has the ability to level up. You can see there, underneath Museum of Auriga in the tooltip, will upgrade to level 2 when surrounded by 4 level 1 districts. So each district will level up if it is surrounded by 4 other districts, which is going to influence the shape of our cities quite a bit. Like, for example, after we finish this Borough Street, if we build another one here, this guy will be surrounded by 4 districts, and he'll level up. And the effect of that will be +2 dust, +2 science, +2 industry, or +2 influence on the city tile, 20 extra fortification for the city, and 15 extra approval. You notice at the top of the list, we talked about you lose 10 approval every time you build out a new burrow, but if you can level up your burrows, they're actually approval positive. Alright, and Ozek got exactly his level up from that building, it looks like. Plus the 1 XP. So what, that was 40 XP that he needed? So you don't get, the conversion from industry cost to XP is not great. 500 XP, or 500 industry was 40 XP. But you can see how it works. Alright, so the winter has ended. If we can get to 10 pearls, we'll have the ability to construct this Altar of Auriga, which will let us influence future winters, basically with nature magic. That's definitely something we want to do. So now that we have the altar, or the museum, increasing our science output, we are going to beat this quest by 1 turn. So we don't need to move anybody over onto science. And I'm wondering if we should build the industrial megapole next. We could just go for this. We could just go for having a whole bunch of extra industry. You can see, even with almost all of our population working industry, we're only outputting 86 total, so plus 25 is significant. And it lowers the cost of all of our districts by 20%. I kind of want to go for it. This may be a little bit silly, and we don't have a military. We should get a military first, probably. Alright, let's just build 4 Epitanes, get the garrison full, so that we can defend ourselves if the Vultures come after us, because they totally might. Especially with us having upset them by building a Fungal Bloom. Although it looks like they did remove it. Yeah, I don't know if we didn't get a notification if I clicked past it, or, like, Fungal Blooms are not... Are Fungal Blooms temporary? This Fungal Bloom is in the recovering state, 0 turns. Actually, it says that on all of them, though. Yeah, I don't know. Probably they removed it with violence, and we did receive a notification, and I just clicked through it because we were doing something else and I didn't notice. Alright, what is in this ruin? Another quest. A disheveled archaeologist by the name of Ruta Kletrops claims to have discovered fresh chambers, likely to contain great riches in an ancient ruin. The problem? Armies of monsters guard the region, and Ruta is not sure anymore in which of the 2 regions you will find it. Will you be the one to find the right location? I don't know, maybe. 2 ruins in Uloth. There are armies guarding it, and it's just 30 glasssteel as the treasure. I don't actually even care about that. Also, I don't know where Uloth is. Let's see, each of the regions has a name. I believe that this quest probably only makes you search adjacent regions, so it's probably that region. But also, I don't really care. I don't want that glasssteel that badly. Yeah, and blue did settle in the region that we need to get into for our various quests, so that's a little awkward for us. Well, let's go for it. We don't really have a lot of choice. Our fungal tunnel thing is 3 turns from being completed. What was the reward for the next level of Lust for Loot? I'm not sure I even... Okay, 15 spices. That would be cool to have. I would like to be able to run a spice booster again. Alright. That is the sound of us hitting Era 2. Alright, we've met Greene now. Greene is the Broken Lords. That's this. He is a, basically, they're magic suits of armor held aloft by clouds of activated dust. So they're sort of magic armor robots, and they subsist on the life energies of other peoples. So they're sort of like magic armor vampire robots. They're bad news. They also like fighting a lot. So the good news here is that we have 2 people nearby who love fighting, and they may just fight each other. Also, we accomplished this quest. We got 80 dust for free. Absolutely no additional effort. We can reassign our hero this turn. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to snap him on here and run deep into blue territory and hopefully be able to fight off anybody who tries to stop us. Fingers crossed. And you don't really have a ton of stuff to do down here. Honestly, we should probably just head home. I've left my land undefended for long enough that we're in some danger. Oh, this is fun. Okay, this is a good time to talk about fortification, I guess. So you can see here, every city has, it shows you on the name tag, the number of units in the garrison. This includes militia. Most cities have 2 militia. The capital has a special building that allows it to have 3 militia. That's true of every player's capital. And then, each city has a fortification value. If your city is attacked, the militia, every unit that's in the garrison will fight in defense of the city, and they'll get bonus HP equal to your fortification value. What you're seeing right here is that this neutral spider monster army is sieging Alandarin. You can put an enemy city in siege to deal damage to its fortification over time, and eventually bleed it down to 0, at which point you can get a fair fight against the garrison. The amount of damage you do to fortifications is actually a value that is on your army. It's based on I believe, the damage value of all of the units in the thing combined. This guy's terrible at siege. This is not a useful thing for him to do. However, while he's doing this, he is reducing the ability of the city to gather resources from the surrounding tiles, which really sucks. So basically, for some reason, a garbage neutral army has spawned and it's harassing blue for us, which I love. That's just a wonderful thing to see. Alright, let's talk about the research queue. So, we've entered Era 2. There's a bunch of cool stuff in Era 2 that we need to research. One thing that we need to think about is our heavy infantry unit, although honestly, I don't love heavy infantry against the foes that we're probably going to be up against. We also have this unique tech that allows us to garrison units in tamed Urkans you control. We still haven't seen an Urkan. I don't really know what we're talking about here. Some of the other big hits here are Tier 2 Titanium and Glass Steel Weapon Technology, Tier 2 Titanium and Glass Steel Armor Technology. There's a big science boosting building in this era. There's Imperial Highways, which allows you to construct proper roads in your empire, and also lets you trade with nearby friendly players, nearby friendly cities, your own cities or the cities of friendly players. Not super good for us, but extremely good for a lot of factions. The Central Market is a building that gives a ton of approval. It is important for countering expansion disapproval, which you get for building out your empire. Not relevant for us, but relevant for a lot of people. And then meritocratic promotion is also very important. It increases the number of units you can cram into an army from 4 to 6. Obviously, that's a big deal in an army led by a hero, since heroes give all the units that follow them big stat buffs. There's also a ton of food available. Like, we just have a ton of things to research. I'm going to lean into alchemical alloys first. I think we have the resources to make weapons. It behooves us to be ready for war, and this is our first step toward actually doing that. Or I guess our second step, if you count me remembering to build military units as the first. Alright, let's try to run through Blue's territory to get to the ruins we need to get to for our various quests. We shall see if this turns out to be a stupid idea. If our hero gets killed in combat, they're not actually dead. That's an important thing to to note. Oh no! We're completely cliffed off from the place we need to be. So we're going to have to actually take a longer route. Well, hopefully Blue's too distracted to come over here and fight me. I see the glow of a ruin in the darkness. Also, pearls. I see the glow of pearls in the darkness. Found ourselves 50 more dust. As the game goes on, the rewards in the ruins get larger and larger. To some extent, that might mean that it's a good idea to leave stuff unsearched if you're confident you can come back and get it later, but it's so important to get advantages early so that you can roll them into larger advantages as the game goes on. We are probably just leaving. I was going to go after these pearls, but this is only 2 pearls, and that hostile minor faction army is definitely going to kill our lone Epatane. So let's go for this 1 pearl instead. Alright, how long is it going to take me to build these military units? Can we move this guy over to... I know, food. I was talking about how important food is. I still believe food is important, but I also believe it's important for us not to die. You know, we don't really have anything else straining our dust right now. I think it is actually extremely reasonable to buy out this construction for 178 dust. Get that seed storage going, get our food back in a good place. Alright, let's see if we can get over to these ruins before we end the episode. We are approaching that hour. I definitely want to move as quickly as possible at the beginning of the turn here in case blue is routing units to our location right now. And we finished that fungal bloom tunnel. Alright, so we're going to be able to search this ruin for lust for loot next turn. We won't be able to search the ruin we need for our quest until the turn after that, which makes me a little nervous because we're going to get attacked here. Alright, we've finished our growing process. You know, when the first Epitane completes, we can just jump through the tunnel real fast, search this, and then come back. Although I guess when I do it, I'm expecting a minor faction army to spawn, aren't I? Yeah, that might not be a good idea. Because he might die against a lone unit, depending on what type of unit it is. Let's try to get this guy home. We could try to get this guy home by tunneling up another ruin over here somewhere. Just chilling out until that's done. It takes a long time to build those, though. Yeah, we're just going to try walking. We got our seed storage complete. Our food output is 58 again. Back to like a reasonable value. I would love to get people back onto food, but like, frankly, we have had no army at all for too long. For long enough that it's already dangerous. Waiting any further would seem to me to be an act of folly. Alright, we're going to move fast at the beginning of the turn here to get to this ruin, because I'm afraid if I don't, they'll move down toward us and block the ruin. As it is, I'm putting myself in range to be attacked, which I don't love, but I don't think we really have a choice here. And we may well lose this this army and get our hero injured. Okay, so we got our 15 spices. There's 15 glass steel waiting for us over next to Greene's capital. Oh no. That's the worst possible outcome. They're standing between me and the other ruin I need. Well, hold on a second. So we got our 15 spices. Let's go ahead and pop the spice booster. You'll notice we're less happy now because we built out another district. So we do need to correct that. Like I said, building another district will up this district's approval output by 5. Or by 15, making it positive 5. But we'll have to build a negative 10 approval district to do that. So it will only be a net of 5 approval gained. Right now, that's good enough, but it won't be when the booster ends, so we need to come up with a slightly longer term solution. Alright, over here we have some guys who can just keep walking. I mean, we could go for that ruin. What's the reassignment cooldown on my hero right now? 2 turns? What's the timer on Lust for Loot? 3 turns. So this would be the last search we would get out of it. We're definitely not going to get to do the last step. For 15 glass steel, I don't know if I think that's worth it. Or, to be more accurate, I do not think that's worth it. Let's just try to get home. So this is being presented to us as a fight that we can win. I'm trying to figure out if I agree. 74 attack, 210 health. So our attack is way above their defense. We're going to massacre these dudes if we can get to them. They have 58 attack and 46 damage. They're likely to be able to do full damage to me with those attack values against my defense value. It's going to hurt. But the thing is, if we don't fight back here and we just retreat, which was my plan, our army will lose 50% of their max HP, and then we'll get to try to move around next turn, but they're just going to attack me again next turn. That said, 50% of our max HP isn't really that big of a... Like, we'll get health regen at the beginning of the next turn, so when they attack us and force another retreat, it won't actually kill me. So maybe the retreat is the safer play. Let's see, we would retreat. Next turn we want to move, but we're moving through their zone of control, so moving to here will take 2, and we'll go 3, 4, then they'll move to attack us. We retreat one more time and we'll be on like 10% health or something. And then it would be hard for us to search the ruin. Like, we're not likely to survive to search the ruin. I think we have to fight if we want to have any chance of doing this. Okay. So it is. Oh, the terrain is real good for them. They're, like, way cliffed off from us. So, how do we want to do this? How do we want to... We want to draw them forward. The AI plays pretty mindlessly. If we back off, they will come to us. But if we try to just go straight toward them, my hero only has 2 movement. So I'd have to endure 1 whole turn of fire with us having no recourse. I guess that's true no matter how I do this, though, isn't it? With us only having 2 movement and them having 3 range, we are going to get shot up for a turn on approach. But I can still make them come to us, and... Yeah, okay. These are where the reinforcement flags are. They're going to get their militia in as reinforcements. If we try to fight them right now, in theory, we could stand like this or something. This guy could go 1-2, and then next turn go 1-2. Except that their militia are going to spawn in and move forward on their first turn, and they're going to form a wall in front of these archers, and we're never going to get to hit them. So what I'm going to do is stand way back. We're going to make them come to us a little bit, cede their position. Oh, they chose not to employ their militia as reinforcements. Interesting. Actually, that's not that crazy of a play. The fact that they chose not to use their militia as reinforcements means that they do not have the danger of losing this battle horribly and then leaving their city completely undefended, which we could potentially take advantage of, right? We have enough influence for a war declaration. I want to be careful not to move within 3 tiles of them. I want them to have to run around to come fight us. And we want to be in a position where we can run directly at them when that happens, which means we have to be through the trees by then. So actually, let's go this way. We might be able to just minimize damage here if we stayed way back in the corner, but I don't want to just minimize damage. I want to kill them. They have 2 movement each, so this guy who moves first is going to go here and block. This guy's going to move to here probably. We move to there. Yeah, we're gonna get hit a little bit on the approach, but this is a much safer version of this. And this doesn't get us killed even if they had managed to bring their militia around, if they had been smart enough. So 1-2. He's got range on us now. I back up. 1-2. The thing is, if I back up, I'm not able to attack them on my next turn. So we'll back up with the more fragile ranged unit. We'll bring the hero forward. The hero is going to be in range for attack from one of the Marines. There's nothing we could do to stop that. Although we didn't actually manage to do any damage. And now it's like, now it's properly on. Okay, I think they screwed up here. I think this was a bad attack. Our hero's a really good fighter. Okay, we may as well finish searching. Oh, that's right. We can't do a normal search on this ruin because manual labor is blocking it. If you have a quest that involves searching a ruin, you have to clear that quest search before you can do a normal search. Also, I'm pretty sure we already normal searched this. So never mind, I'm being silly. Alright, so we will get the second ruin for our for this next step of our faction quest here. Blue has an army down here. We saw them briefly. Oh, we should search... No, I'm not going to be able to search this. Right, the quest is blocking it. Oh, okay, I'll deal with you in a second, Urkans. I have to run away from these vaulters first. Okay, we spawned 3 Kekators. Well, that's not too scary. So, while there's an attack going on, the whole area of the battlefield is like locked on the map. Units can't move into or out of it. So I'm going to use this as a second to kind of catch our breath and figure out what to do with the rest of our stuff. I was just going to run, but that's a temple ruin. So we could get an Eclipse Search off on it. Yeah, okay, this Epitane maybe dies doing this, but if he gets the search off, it's probably worth it, honestly. And there's a Conflux over here that gives plus health regen minus unit upkeep. Probably not super relevant to us. A bunch of temple ruins that we can't really take advantage of. Alright, let's read this thing about the Urkans. The ancient Urkan beasts are stirring. As violent tremors shake the ground, frightened surface dwellers whisper that the fabled creatures may be more than just myths. Soon one will surely break through the crust, bringing threat and opportunity for all Auriga's races. I'm very curious about this. We have 2 Epitanes in the garrison now. I'm wondering if this is enough to safely move through here and get into a fight. It seems like the enemies we're fighting are escalating in number, so maybe it's not a good idea to do it without the hero. This should be pretty easy, but let's do it manually just to make sure nothing dumb happens. So, again with the good cliff. We don't really want to have to fight them on that cliff. In this cliffy area. I want them to have to come down a little bit. So there's a dust cloud on this space. Sometimes there are just big clouds of dust during the eclipse. I believe this confers a defensive bonus. And this is just far enough away that they can't hit me while they're up there on that cliff. Although, actually, I don't want to be in a spot where they could move to here and hit me either. I want them to have to come all the way forward. And we'll push through this area. Now, the different minor factions are... The different minor factions have different degrees of combat competence, is maybe a good way to put this. These guys are bad at fighting. 16 attack, 20 damage, 24 defense, but they have the ability to heal friendly units, and every time they heal or attack, they also pulse healing to all adjacent units. They're pretty cool if you can get them outfitted, but by base stats, they're one of the worst units in the game. Sorry, at killing stuff. And you can see it's going to take them an hour to dig through his health. We are not in any danger here. I consider a single haunt to be more dangerous than 3 Cavators. And we should regen all this damage off pretty quickly. Remember, our health regen is very good. Alright, we are pushing through our faction quest. I think it is time to get home. We can almost make it home next turn. So we'll group him up with whatever Epitanes are finished. We'll go through the tunnel as a big army to confront whatever we happen to find through here. Also, our hero's doing pretty well on XP. He's already almost level 5. And of course, it is Eclipse time. You know... Should we have any of our guys pop out and run toward Eclipse Ruins? We probably should. Yeah, we could just have guys pop out and do a little bit of searching here. Let's just see what we get. We could save this for the hero, I guess. But I don't really want to have to divert myself from the optimal path. Also, there are pearls to be gathered. Other players get very cross with you if you take pearls that are in their territory. So we probably don't want to grab this deposit, even though it is right there and totally easy to grab. It's also only 2 pearls. I don't know that it's worth risking the ire of another player who might get distracted by his other neighbors if we don't bother him. Ooh, hey, that's a movement conflux. Okay, we're going to grab that with our hero and then run. And then this should probably be the last turn we do here. I just looked over at the clock. I'm having a lot of fun right now. I want to just keep going, but unfortunately, I do have things to do. So we're gonna run through this turn real fast. Grab this, gain a bunch of extra points of movement, and then flee Blue's territory. It's possible that we could have just attacked and taken Alondarin after they lost those archers to us, but I'm not certain that we'd be able to defend ourselves against everything else that's coming if we did that. And we're so close to being so much better at fighting. Alright, you guys steal all of the treasure from the Broken Lords. Oh, lust for loot. Shoot, I can't do this right now. Well, you know what? We could just grab our hero over here, and that prevents him from being part of this move, but if we bring enough of these guys over there, it shouldn't matter. And it would give us the Lust for Loot search, plus an Eclipse search, plus a normal search, because we've never searched this ruin before. Which is a lot of XP on the hero in addition to all that extra loot. And then the hero will just be... he'll be over here screwing around for 4 turns until we can reassign him back over. I think that should be fine. I'm going to do that. We could also pull Ozek the Chosen just to have him do this, but I really want him to stay focused. Alright, so we got our 15 glass steel. The final loot would be 15 die and 20 influence. It's not even that far away, but we certainly can't get there in 1 turn. And we pulled the Dish of Kanuk, a very fancy shield made out of the lid of a pot. His humble cookpot was transformed into a formidable defensive weapon. I mean, that's a lot of stats on that pot. 22 defense plus 30% defense. Unfortunately, we would have to use a resource that we don't even know about yet to equip it. So, sort of a concern for the future. Also, 70 dust. Not a bad haul. Alright, you can go and search this ruin. Hopefully. I'm actually not sure. If I click on this, am I going to just teleport through it? No, I can still just search normally. So we have a huge amount of money. I don't know what we want to do with that amount of money. We could probably hire another hero. We could hire a second military hero. Obviously, we are only ever going to need 1 governor, but we could hire a second fighter. Just try to really army up and go after the Vaulters if they're not going to come after us. We could just use the money to rush buildings. Out of curiosity, if we were to try to build the Megapole, it would be 4,000 dust to rush it. Every turn, somewhere around 300 something dust is going to come off of that as we contribute influence or industry to it. Yeah, this amount of dust doesn't really help us build the Megapole at all. I don't know. I don't know yet what I want to do with all this money. Fortunately, we don't have to figure it out right now, since we're ending the video here anyway. I'll just I'll have a little bit of a think about this and come back with a plan. That is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time when, hopefully, we finally discover what the hell an Urkan is. And we'll see you then.